So I never thought I'd say this, but I haven't worked out in like a year and a half consistently, at least, since the gym's closed. So I'm gonna work out every single day for the next month at least to see how that helps with my sadness.
Which for some reason seemed to have started as soon as I stopped working out. Quite interesting.
So before this, I was a swimmer of 15 years. I started basically out of the womb. I was so cute! Ugh! I was always a little monster in the pool, intensely competitive. And if you were in the lane next to me at a competition, I was going to destroy you. On the pool deck, I was a completely different person, super happy, energetic. I loved cheering on my teammates and just the atmosphere of a team. Basically one of the happiest people on the pool deck. Besides the occasional ice death bath and every single practice, it was a good time. After I stopped swimming senior year of high school, I started to get into calisthenics, which was super fun and gave me a ton of energy. Not that I necessarily knew what I was doing all the time, I would just throw myself sometimes, but it was super fun. So on this first day, I decided to go on a run. I take my crucifix and miraculous medal everywhere I go with me. Makes me feel very safe. And I actually haven't run for real since 5th grade because I tried quitting swim for a year back then, and then they made me run the mile at every single meet. So then I quit track too, and then I went back to swim, which ended up being a good decision because in the end, I do not regret swimming for that long. I'm just now starting to work out again because I just looked over the past couple of months and I have not been myself. I have not had the energy that I used to. I've been very down, and I don't know if you've experienced like severe brain fog, but it's been really bad and I just can't even think straight anymore. So I was praying about this, and this kind of came up in prayer. I felt like God was just telling me to start working out again. I know that's so basic and simple. I guess it works because honestly, it's been a few days since I've started working out, and I just feel so much mental clarity and I feel a bit more stable now. I am coming closer to equilibrium. I actually looked up, just for kicks and gigs, symptoms of depression a few weeks ago, and it turns out I pretty much checked off everything on the symptom list, maybe except for one, and that is like a serious crisis. I think right now, especially during this kind of isolation period of time. If you're experiencing this as well, definitely get help. I'm not ashamed to admit that I do have a therapist now, and it is extremely helpful, I will say. So definitely get out and just enjoy the outdoors and exercise, get yourself a therapist, do what you need to do, but we will get through this together, I promise. Depression and mental health in general, I think, isn't something you can typically just pray away. And while I do believe in miracles, I also believe that if miracles happened like every time you prayed, it wouldn't really be a miracle. So definitely utilize the resources God's giving you in your own life and get the help that you need. Okay, I want to show you how I was running to get these shots for you guys. So one of the things that I really love about my college, USF, is this beautiful trail that's right next to where I live, and they have these little workout stations along the trail, and the instructions that they give on them aren't very clear, but the equipment is super fun to use. And I'm definitely going to start coming out here and running once or twice a week, depending on if I get shin splints. Something else I started doing again, which has been super helpful in getting out of that negative mindset, especially in the mornings, is reading my Bible. So I started doing that first thing and just really meditating and praying on it. And it helps me to get out of my head and stop thinking so much about myself, which is honestly what will make you miserable super fast. I feel like depression definitely causes you to see everything around you in a negative light, including yourself, and starting out with just gratitude and asking for the grace to see things from God's perspective and not my broken perspective has been super helpful in getting out of that state. I actually only started reading the Bible for myself a few years back, and I was kind of atheist at that point, didn't really believe in God, and I was questioning everything, which I think is really good because it's better to question things and be atheist, I think, than to just not care about these things. And after a long time of just searching and being so confused and going on in a loop in my head about whether God exists, I just decided to open the Bible and see if anything came from that. And I started with the New Testament. Oh my goodness, the Gospel of John and Galatians, Hebrews, and Corinthians specifically completely changed my life. And I started just praying just to see what would happen, like an experiment. And I feel like God set it up that way because it kind of forces you to approach him in humility that, hey, maybe I don't know everything, and you can never really prove that he doesn't exist, so you might as well. But recently, especially meditating on scripture daily now, I've started actually believing his word and believing his promises to be true and not just playing games in my head. When he says that he'll work everything out for the good of those who love him, I actually started to believe that, and I just said, okay, Lord, if this is true, then you know what? I trust in you. Even, for example, I've had insomnia my entire life, and so on the nights that I can't sleep, instead of like freaking out and just being so frustrated and overtired and letting it affect my entire life like that, I just give it to him, even if I can't sleep. And I just trust that he'll even use that lack of sleep for my good and for the good of others. And I might not be able to see it on this earth at all until I die, maybe. I've just started to trust him with these things, and oh my goodness, the weight of it is gone. I mean, I have so much less anxiety and stress, and life is just so much more enjoyable that way. So usually as soon as I get back from working out, I have to have something to eat right away or I will decease. I also make a cold coffee, usually with almond milk, but today I had to use soy milk because I ran out. I just think a nice cold iced coffee after you work out is so much more refreshing than hot coffee. And here my roommate came out, and I'm pretty sure she didn't see the camera, and I just didn't feel like explaining what I was doing, so I just sat here and talked to her for a solid 10 minutes. Lucky Charms were apparently supposed to turn the milk green because of St. Patrick's Day, but obviously it didn't. Anyway, if you're still cooping up inside and not getting out, I really highly suggest going on a run or just starting to work out. Do yourself a favor and stop being lazy. So after day one, I am feeling a little drained, but I feel this mental clarity that I haven't had in a long time. I know you're supposed to feel the effects after a few days or weeks of working out. I don't have like the energy that I used to have. I still feel kind of down, but there's definitely not as much brain fog and just dread in having to wake up. I'm excited to see after the first week how much better I feel, and I think these videos will be super telling for me because sometimes, like, if you start to feel better, you just forget how bad that you felt before. Yeah, I'm excited to see how everything improves. I'll be posting once or twice a week, just depending on what kind of videos I'm gonna post. Let me know, because I don't really know what this channel is gonna turn into or what God's gonna do with it. Thanks for watching, and if you haven't subscribed already, I'd really appreciate it. Bye! Also gonna be lifting weights and swimming again, both of those for the first time in about a year and a half. So stay tuned for how that goes. Should be interesting. We'll see how long I can swim without dying. So